Shalom, Israel's brother Cal Yah. Hey, all praise and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem HaMashiach Yahushua. Hey, we going over the book of Ruth. Is Ruth an Israelite or is she not an Israelite? I mean, surely she is an Israelite. She has a book in the Bible. All the other books are Israelites, right? So she is an Israelite. Let's see what the Bible say. We're going to stick with Ezekiel 2:7 and speak the Lord's words, all right? John 8:32, it's time for y'all to know the truth. Is she an Israelite or a heathen? Let's see. All right. So Ruth 1:1. Now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled that there was a famine. All right. Hey, Amos 8:11 tells us, look, hey, we're going to deal with a famine as well, except we're going to deal with a famine of the word. All right. It's going to come in time and a period where us brothers are going to have to deal with a famine of the word. Hey, we're going to have to get ready. We got to get all that knowledge while it's here before that famine of the word come, all right? So we're going to keep it pushing. In the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to sojourn, went to go stay, go live, all right, in the country of Moab. He and his wife and his 2 sons. So this man took with him his whole family, his wife and his 2 sons with him, all right? Verse 2, and the name of the man was Elimelech. I cannot pronounce names good, so you're going to have to excuse me for that, right? And the name of his wife, Naomi, and the name of his 2 sons, Mahlon and Chilion, Ephrathites, all right, of Bethlehem, Judah. And they came into the country of Moab and continued there. So they went to the country of Moab and they ended up living there, all right? And Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died. So her husband ended up passing away. All right. And she was left and her 2 sons. So it was Naomi left and her 2 sons that was left. All right. Verse 4. And they took them wives of the woman of Moab. All right. So first in verse 3, it's important to note that her sons, all right, they were left over and they ended up taking wives of the Moabites, all right? But in Tobit 4:12 tells you you're supposed to be with women of your own nation, not marry strangers, all right? So they kind of went against what is written, all right? And then it says, verse 4 again, and they took them wives of the woman of Moab. The name of the one was Orpha, and the name of the other was Ruth. All right, key word. These are women of Moabs, and one of the women of Moab that they married was Ruth. All right. Hey, that should tell you some. Hey, but we're not going to just rely on that one verse. We're going to read the whole book of Ruth. I mean, it's only a page and a half, right? All right, so we're going to keep it going. And they dwelt there about 10 years. So after they got their wives, they ended up living there for about 10 years. All right. Verse 5. And Mahlon and Chilion died also, both of them. And the woman was left of her 2 sons and her husband. So look, both of the sons ended up dying. Her husband ended up dying. Only Naomi was left. All right. Verse 6. Then she arose with her daughters-in-law that she might return from the country of Moab. Meaning that she might leave from the country of Moab. Who's her daughters-in-law that her son married? Orphan and Ruth. All right. Those are her daughters-in-law. All right. For she had heard in the country of Moab how that the Lord has visited his people in giving them bread. Who's his people? Hey, the world would have you to say everybody is his people that believe. But the scriptures say in Matthew 2:6, my people is Israelites. All right. Just summarizing it. And in what is it? Exodus 3:10, let my people go. The Israelites, all right, once again, just summarizing it, all right? So point is the Israelites are God's people, all right? Verse 7, wherefore she went forth out of the place where she was, and her 2 daughters-in-law with her, and they went on the way to return unto the land of Judah. And Naomi said unto her 2 daughters-in-law, go return each to her mother's house. So Naomi is like, y'all go back to y'all moms, man. Just go back to y'all moms. Keep going on. And the Lord deal kindly with you. So she's like, look, y'all go back to y'all moms. Hey, may the Lord deal kindly with y'all. All right. As ye have dealt with the dead and with me. Hey, y'all dealt kindly with the dead, all right? We know who all passed away, the sons, the husbands, all right? So she's like, may the Lord deal kindly with y'all in return, all right? Verse 9, the Lord grant you that ye may find rest, each of you, in the house of her husband. So she's hoping that they're granted rest, all right? Then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voice and wept. So look, these two Moabites was not happy to leave Naomi's side, all right? And one of them was Ruth. This is about this is the person we reading about, the book of Ruth, all right? Ruth was one of the Moabites that was not happy, was actually very sad to leave the side of Naomi, all right? Verse 10, and they said unto her, surely we will return with thee unto thy people, all right? So key word, these two Moabites women is telling Naomi, look, surely, hey, we want to return with you to your people, all right? So there's a distinction here. I don't know if y'all catch that. It's a different people between the Moabites and the Israelites. These Moabites are saying, Naomi, we want to return with you to your people, making a separation, all right? Verse 11, all right? And Naomi said, turn again, my daughters. Why will ye go with me? So Naomi is like, nah, y'all go back. Why y'all want to come with me? Y'all go, man. Right? Are there yet any more sons in my womb? Am I pregnant? Is it something I don't know? Naomi is basically saying, like, am I pregnant? Right? That they may be your husbands. So, like, am I pregnant? I'm about to have children that y'all trying to wait and marry when they get older? What is it? Like, why y'all trying to come with me, right? Turn again, my daughters, go your way, for I am too old to have an husband. If I should say I have hope, if I should have a husband also tonight, and should also bear sons, would ye tarry for them till they were grown? So Naomi is saying, look, if I had a husband and I ended up having sons, is y'all basically saying y'all gonna wait until they born and they get older for y'all to marry them, basically? Would ye stay for them from having husbands? So you will wait for them so y'all could have husbands? Nay, my daughters, for it grieveth me. All right, Naomi is like, nah, this is grieving me, man. Nah, all right. Much for your sakes that the hand of the Lord is gone out against me. So now Naomi is like, look, hey, the Lord, his hand went out against me, man. You know, like things ain't going too good right now. Verse 14. And they lifted up their voice and wept again. So they both cried again. Ruth and her sister ended up crying again, right? And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clave unto her. So look, Orpah, she kissed Naomi and she just accepted Naomi telling her to leave. But Ruth, right, she ended up cleaving, as it said in Isaiah 14, right? Hey, they're going to start cleaving, all right? They shall cleave to the house of Jacob, right? They're going to cleave, right? Verse 15. And she said, behold, thy sister-in-law is gone back unto her people. Listen to this verse. Naomi is telling Ruth, your sister-in-law, look, she went back to her people. So even Naomi is making a separation that Naomi's people is not the same as Ruth's people. Just like earlier, Ruth made a separation of Ruth's people is not the same as Naomi's people. All right. So, hey, so far, they're not Israelites so far. Ruth and Orpah are not Israelites, but we're going to keep reading to prove it. All right. Where was I? Where did I leave off? Okay, so I'm gonna start from 15 from the top again. And she said, behold, thy sister-in-law is gone back unto her people and unto her gods. Keyword, her gods. All right, keyword gods. So look, Ruth and Orpah, her sister, they have their own God. Their God is not Yahweh. Their God is not the same God that Naomi has. So Naomi is like, look, y'all have your own gods. All right. Naomi wouldn't say that if these was Israelites, all right? Return thou after thy sister-in-law. So Naomi is like, go back with your sister-in-law, please, Ruth. Go back with your sister-in-law. Y'all have your own gods, all right? Verse 16, and Ruth said, entreat me not to leave thee. Please don't tell me to leave you. Ruth is like, please don't tell me to leave your side. Please don't tell me to leave. Or return from following after thee. Please don't let me stop following you, man. I want to follow you. I want to follow your ways. Please don't let me stop following you. I want to cleave. All right? Ruth is like literally telling Naomi basically, please just let me cleave, man. Don't stop me from cleaving. All right? And for whether thou goest, I will go. So Ruth is like, man, wherever you go, Naomi, best believe I'm finna be right there by your side. All right? And where thou lodgest, I will lodge. All right? Hey, where you set up, where you stay, I'm going to be there too. All right? Thy people shall be my people. Once again, a distinction. Your people, Naomi, I want them to be my people as well. All right? And thy God, my God. Your God, Yahweh, I want him to be my God too. I don't care about the Moabites' God. I want Yahweh, your God, Naomi, to be my God as well. That is what Ruth is saying. All right. Now we're going to go to verse 17. Where thou diest, will I die. Hey, wherever you die, I want to die. I want to be there next to you and be buried in that same spot, Naomi. Hey, Ruth is cleaving hardcore. All right. Willingly too. Willingly. All right. And there will I be buried, and the Lord do so to me. And more also, if aught but death part thee and me. So Ruth is basically saying to Naomi, till death do us part. Hey, Naomi, the only way I'm going to stop cleaving to you and separate from you till death do us part. Hey, if that's not cleaving, I don't know what is. But that is hardcore cleaving. All right. So now we're going to go to verse 18. When she saw that she was steadfastly minded to go with her. So when Naomi saw that Ruth's mind was set on 100% staying with her and going with her, then she left speaking unto her. So Naomi was like, and just started talking to her. You know, they left and they started talking. Verse 19. So they two went until they came to Bethlehem. So they went to Bethlehem, both of them. All right. And it came to pass when they were come to Bethlehem that all the city was moved about them. And they said, is this Naomi? Hey, damn, we ain't seen Naomi in a minute. Is this Naomi right here? Right. And she said unto them, call me not Naomi. Hey, don't call me Naomi no more, man. Please don't call me Naomi. All right. I'm sure she said it in a more, calmly, humble way. But she was like, please don't call me Naomi no more. Right. And call me Mara. She's like, look, my new name finna be Mara. Call me Mara. Right. For the Almighty had dealt very bitterly with me. So she's like, look, man, hey, I wasn't treated well. All right. The Almighty did not treat me fair. It was not right how I was treated. Right. Verse 21. I went out full, and the Lord had brought me home again empty. So basically Naomi is saying, look, I left here with my husband and my two children, my two sons, and I came back empty-handed. I came back by myself. All right. That's what she's basically saying. She came back empty-handed after leaving with everything. Her family was everything to her. Right. Why then call ye me Naomi? So why are you calling me Naomi? Like, why? Seeing that the Lord had testified against me and the Almighty has afflicted me. So she feels that she was very afflicted and testified against because she left with a family and came back with no family. All right. Verse 22. Say Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabitess, keyword. So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabitess. All right. This is like the third or fourth verse that's making it clear who Ruth is. All right. But yeah, we're going to keep reading. Her daughter-in-law, right, with her, which returned out of the country of Moab, right, and they came to Bethlehem in the beginning of barley harvest. All right. That's when they ended up arriving, in the beginning of the harvest, right? Chapter 2. All right. And Naomi had a kinsman of her husband, a mighty man of wealth, a kinsman, a relative. All right. He's a mighty, wealthy man. All right. Of the family of Elimelech, and his name was Boaz. All right. Boaz, all right, is the kinsman. All right. The mighty man of wealth. All right. And Ruth the Moabitess said unto Naomi, let me now go to the field. Did y'all just see what Ruth said? Please let me go to the field. And Ruth is ready to be in the field and handle business. Ruth asked for permission to go in the field. They didn't have to tell her, okay. Naomi didn't have to say, okay, since you came to Bethlehem for me and you cleaving so damn hard, take your ass in the field. No, Ruth didn't say that. All right. Salakia, Naomi didn't have to say that. Ruth just was like, could I please go to the field? You know, could I go handle business at the field? Right. And glean ears of the corn after him in whose sight I shall find grace. So she's trying to find grace in the sight of Boaz. Right. And she said unto her, go, my daughter. So Naomi was like, yeah, for sure. Go ahead. You know, go ahead. Right. And she went and came and gleaned in the field after the reapers. So she went and gleaned, right? And her hap, all right? Hap means like she went working, all right? Was to light on a part of the field, right? Beginning unto Boaz. So she went working on the part of the field that belonged to Boaz, all right? Who was of kindred of Elimelech, all right? He was a relative, all right, of Elimelech. That's what it means, like kindred, all right? Now we're going to go to verse 4. And behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem and said unto the reapers, the Lord be with you. And they answered him, the Lord bless thee. So, you know, Boaz, he seemed like he cool so far. He's like, hey, may the Lord be with you. And they was like, in return, hey, may he bless you as well, right? Then said Boaz unto his servant that was set over the reapers, whose damsel is this? So Boaz saw Ruth and he was like, hey, whose woman is this? Who this right here? All right. Verse 6. And the servant that was set over the reapers answered and said, it is the Moabitish damsel. They know who she is. All right. They said, look, hey, this is the Moabitish woman. All right. We're going to keep reading. All right. That came back with Naomi out of the country of Moab. And she said, I pray you, let me glean and gather after the reapers among the sheaves. So she was trying to gather stuff, all right, from the sheaves, right? Among the sheaves, so like it. So she came and had continued even from the morning until now. Hey, so she was handling business for a minute. A morning until now. That she tarried a little in the house, all right? So she ended up staying a little in the house, all right? Verse 8. Then said Boaz unto Ruth, hearest thou not my daughter? Go not to glean in another field, neither go from hence. So Boaz is, look, hey, you didn't hear my daughter? Don't go to another field. Don't leave from here, all right? But abide here fast by my maidens. Hey, Ruth, I want you to stay here, all right? Verse 9. Let thy eyes be on the field that they do reap, and go thou after them. All right. So he's basically telling Ruth, hey, basically follow after the girls. Follow after what you see my maidens doing. All right. Have I not charged the young men that they shall not touch you? Hey, I didn't command them to not touch you. I told them not to touch you, Ruth. All right. Don't worry about it. Right. And when thou art thirst, go unto the vessels and drink of that which the young man have drawn. Hey, when you get thirsty, hey, they got something to drink. They had got something already. Hey, go get some to drink from what they got, all right? Don't worry about it, all right? Verse 10. Then she fell on her face and bowed herself to the ground. Hey, that's Isaiah 49 and 23 in full effect. Salakia. In full effect, all right? Isaiah 49 and 23 in full effect, all right? Ruth just fell to her face and bowed willingly, all right? As the scriptures say it would happen, all right? Where was I? Verse 10 from the top. Then she fell on her face and bowed herself to the ground and said unto him, why have I found grace in thy eyes? Damn, like, I notice how you treat me, Boaz. Like, why have I found grace in your eyes? Like, I really want to know. Like, could you tell me? Like, basically, right? Where was I now? Or Khan, that thou shouldest take knowledge of me, seeing I am a stranger. All right. So keyword, Ruth acknowledged that she's a stranger, and she's telling Boaz, Why are you take knowledge of me? Why are you helping me? And you know I'm a stranger. That's what Ruth is saying to Boaz. Like she's confused trying to figure this out. Why? Why me? I'm just Ruth. I'm just a stranger that's trying to plead. Verse 11, and Boaz answered and said unto her, it had fully been showed me all that thou hast done unto thy mother-in-law since the death of thy husband, and how thou hast left thy father and thy mother and the land of thy nativity, and are come unto a people which thou knowest not. So look, Boaz is telling Ruth, look, hey, I know everything you did for your mother-in-law, Naomi. I know you left your pops. I know you left your moms. I know you left your native land, which is Moab. All right. You came to a people you don't even know. Look, Boaz, he knows it's a separation between her being a Moabite and his people being an Israelite. All right. Verse 12. Then the Lord recompense thy work, and a full reward be given thee of the Lord God of Israel, under whose wings thou art come to trust. So look, he's basically saying, may the Lord repay your works that you've done, Ruth. All right. Verse 13, then she said, let me find favor in thy sight, my Lord, for thou hast comforted me. So look, Ruth is telling Boaz, hey, may I find favor in your sight? You're comforting me with all these things you're saying to me, Boaz, right? And for that thou hast spoken friendly unto me, thy handmaid, though I be not like unto one of thy handmaids, right? So Ruth is basically just very appreciative of how she's being spoken to and dealt with by Boaz, right? Verse 14, and Boaz said unto her, at mealtime come thou hither and eat of the bread and dip of thy morsel in the vinegar. So look, Boaz is saying, look, hey, when it's time to eat, hey, come have some food, man. Hey, come have some bread, Ruth. You know, come get something to eat, right? And she sat beside the reapers, and he reached her parched corn, and she did eat, and was sufficient, and left. So meaning sufficient, meaning she was satisfied, and when it said and left, meaning it was leftovers, all right? Verse 15, and when she was risen up to glean, Boaz commanded his young man, saying, let her glean even among the sheaves, and reproach her not. So Boaz commanded the man, he was like, look, hey, let her do her thing, and don't stop her, all right? And let fall also some of the handfuls of purpose for her. And he told the young man, you know what, even pull out, all right, some of the handfuls of purpose for her, and leave them, that she may glean them, and rebuke her not, all right? Don't correct her, all right? Verse 17, so she gleaned in the field until evening, and beat out that she had gleaned, and it was about an ephah of barley. Verse 18, and she took it up and went into the city, and her mother-in-law saw what she had gleaned, and she brought forth and gave to her that she had reserved, meaning she gave to Naomi what she had left after she was sufficient, after, you know, Ruth was satisfied, right? I mean, after Naomi was satisfied. Verse 19, and her mother-in-law said unto her, where hast thou gleaned today? And where wroughest thou? So Naomi told Ruth, she was like, hey, where did you work today? Blessed be he that did take knowledge of thee. So Naomi is saying, look, hey, blessed is that person that helped thee, take knowledge of thee, meaning that ended up helping thee, all right? And she showed her mother-in-law with whom she had wrought, meaning with who she worked with, and said, the man's name with whom I wrought today is Boaz. So Ruth was basically saying it was Boaz that I ended up working for today, right? Verse 20, and Naomi said unto her daughter-in-law, blessed be he of the Lord, of who had not left off his kindness to the living and to the dead. And Naomi said unto her, the man is near of kins unto us, of our next kinsman. So Naomi basically told Ruth, like, look, Boaz is her next kinsman or close relative, all right? Not because that they're blood, all right? Because remember, Naomi's two sons ended up marrying both of the Moabite women, and one of the Moabite women happened to be Ruth, all right? That's why Ruth is now a close relative of Boaz, all right? All right, verse 21, and Ruth the Moabitess, key word, it starts it off like that in verse 21 to make sure that we ain't confused. Ruth the Moabitess, all right? All through the scriptures, it's been telling us what Ruth is. And it's saying, Ruth the Moabitess, he said unto me also, thou shalt keep, meaning thou shalt stay fast by my young man until they have ended all my harvest, meaning until they finish all the work. Verse 22, and Naomi said unto Ruth, her daughter-in-law, it is good, my daughter, that thou go with his handmaids, that they meet thee not in other field. So Naomi is telling Ruth, it's good that you go with Boaz's handmaids, all right, and so you don't get harassed in somebody else's field, all right, because in somebody else's field she'll get harassed. Why? Because she's a Moabite, right? We're gonna keep reading though. Verse 23, so she kept fast by the maidens of Boaz to glean, meaning like to gather, unto the end of the barley harvest and of wheat harvest, and dwelt with her mother-in-law. Dwelt meaning she lived with her mother-in-law, right? Verse Slakia, chapter 3. Then Naomi, her mother-in-law, said unto my daughter, shall I not seek rest for thee, that it may be well with thee? So Naomi said, look, shouldn't I find rest for my daughter-in-law Ruth, right? Because it's going to be good for her, right? Verse 2, and now it is not Boaz of our kindred, with whose maidens thou was? Behold, he would know it barkley tonight in the threshing floor. Verse 3, wash thyself therefore, and anoint thee, and put raiment upon thee. So look, Naomi's telling Ruth, hey, go wash up. Hey, go smell good. Go dress up a little nice. Hey, put some nice fragrance on you, right? And get thee down to the floor, but make not thyself known unto man. And go, but don't let no man see you. All right? All right, so we're going to continue now. All right? Until he shall have done eating and drinking. All right? Verse 4, and it shall be when he lie down, that thou shalt mark the place where he shall lie. So look, Naomi told Ruth, hey, when he lay down, remember the place where he lay down, all right? Whenever Boaz go lay down, remember where he laid down. Ruth, don't forget, all right? And uncover his feet, and lay thee down, and he will tell thee what thou shalt do. And then after you do that, Ruth, he going to instruct you what to do, all right? Verse 5, and she said unto her, all thou sayest unto me will I do. Amen. Ruth cleaved like a mug, all right, but very humbly, willingly, all right. She's like, look, everything you say, Naomi, bet I got you. Say less. You want me to do this? Got you. You want me to do that? Got you. I got you, Naomi. Everything you say, I'm more than happy to do for you, right? Her cleaving level was on 1,000 at this point, right? So now we're going to go to verse 6. And she went down onto the floor and did according to all that her mother-in-law bade her, meaning like basically told her, instructed her to do, right? Verse 7, and when Boaz had eaten and drunk, and his heart was merry, he went to lie down at the end of the heap of corn. So after Boaz eat, right, and he was merry, he was feeling good, he went to go and lay down. And she came softly and uncovered his feet and laid her down. So what it meant by she came softly and uncovered his feet and laid her down, it don't mean that Boaz laid down Ruth. It meant that Ruth just laid herself down by his feet, right? Verse 8, and it came to pass at midnight that the man was afraid and turned himself, and behold, a woman lay at his feet. So midnight came around, Boaz turned around, and he saw a woman laying down. So he was like startled. He got afraid, right? He was surprised to see somebody laying at his feet, a woman. Like, he was like, who this? Like, what's going on, right? Verse 9, and he said, who art thou? Who's you? Who are you, man? Right? And she answered, I am Ruth, thy handmaid. Spread therefore thy skirt, meaning like thy garment, over thy handmaid, for thou art a near kinsman. So Ruth is like, hey, I'm Ruth, remember the handmaid? Your handmaid? I was in the field and stuff for you. Hey, I'm your near kinsman, Boaz, right? She basically saying that, right? Verse 10, and he said, blessed be thou of the Lord, my daughter, for thou hast showed more kindness in the latter end than at the beginning. So look, Boaz is basically telling Ruth, hey, you're more kinder now than you was before, right? In as much as thou followest not young man, whether poor or rich, right? Verse 11, and now my daughter, fear not, I will do to thee all that thou requirest. So look, Boaz is telling Ruth, hey, don't worry, all right? Everything you require, everything you request, Ruth, I'll do, all right? That's what Boaz is saying to Ruth at this moment, right? For all the city of my people doeth know that thou art a virtuous woman. So look, Boaz is saying, look, all of the city of my people, all right, know that you virtuous, Ruth. All you done, hey, we know you virtuous, right? And this is where a lot of people get confused, right? Because people be saying, look, the only person that will ever be called virtuous are Israelites, you know, for keeping the commandments and stuff like that. All right, she's being called virtuous because she's cleaving the way she's cleaving. All right, she doesn't know the commandments. She hasn't been given the commandments. She's just cleaving like very humbly and willingly and doing everything submissively with no issue, right? Verse 12, and now it is true that I am thy near kinsman, howbeit there is a kinsman nearer than I. So look, Boaz is saying like, look, it's true. I'm a near relative, but it's another relative that's nearer than me, that's closer than me, right? Verse 13, tarry this night. So Boaz told her, hey, stay tonight, and it shall be in the morning that if he will perform unto thee the part of a kinsman, well, let him do the kinsman part. So Boaz is telling Ruth, look, hey, if the other relative he gonna do what a kinsman's supposed to do, hey, well then, you know, let him do it. But if he will not do the part of a kinsman to thee, then will I do the part of the kinsman to thee. But if he don't got you, Ruth, hey, I got you, Ruth. That's what Boaz is basically saying. As the Lord liveth, lie down until the morning. Verse 14, and she lay at his feet until the morning, and she rose up before one could know another. So she was laying down until the morning, hey, but she left before anybody saw her, all right? And he said, let it not be known that a woman came into the floor. Basically, keep it a secret. Don't let it be known that you was here, Ruth. All right. Where was I? Let me see. Oh yeah, verse 15. Also he said, bring the veil that thou hast upon thee and hold it. And when she held it, he measured 6 measures of barley and laid it on, meaning he gave it to her. Okay. And she went into the city. Verse 16. And when she came to her mother-in-law, she said, who art thou, my daughter? So look, when Ruth, all right, went back to Naomi, Naomi was like, hey, who you? Oh, you my daughter? You Ruth, right? And she said, and she told her all that the man had done to her. So basically, Ruth updated Naomi on everything that Boaz did and said to her, all right? Verse 17, and she said, these 6 measures of barley gave he me, for he said to me, go not empty unto thy mother-in-law. So Ruth was like, look, hey, Boaz gave me this. He told me basically not to go back empty-handed to you, Naomi, right? Verse 18, then said she, sit still, my daughter, until thou know how the matter will fall. Hey, relax until we find out, you know, basically what's going to happen, right? For the man will not be in rest until he have finished the things this day. Chapter 4, then went Boaz up to the gate and sat him down there. And behold, the kinsman of whom Boaz spake came by, unto whom he said, ho, such a one, turn aside, sit down here. And he turned aside and sat down. So the kinsman, the relative that Boaz was telling Ruth about, he came and he sat by him, right? Verse 2, and he took 10 men of the elders of the city and said, sit ye down here. And they sat down. Boaz also got 10 elders, and he was like, hey, you guys could sit here. And they, you know, they sat down. Verse 3, and he said unto the kinsman, Naomi, that is come again out of the country of Moab, is selling a parcel of land which was our brother Elimelech. So Boaz is basically letting it be known to them, like, look, hey, Naomi, hey, she's selling her husband's land, right? Verse 4, and I thought to advertise thee, meaning he was like, you know, I should tell thee, right? saying, buy it before the inhabitants and before the elders of my people. So Boaz told the other relative, look, hey, buy it before all of us, right? If thou will redeem it, redeem it. But if thou will not redeem it, then tell me. Boaz is like, if you're going to buy it, buy it. You know, but if you can't get it, just let me know, right? Just let me know. That I may know, for there is none to redeem it besides thee, and I am after thee. So Boaz is like, look, you're the only one that can redeem it. But if you can't redeem it, I'm the only one that can redeem it after you, right? And he said, I will redeem it, all right? So Boaz ended up redeeming it. Then said Boaz, what day thou buyest the field of the hand of Naomi, thou must buy it also of Ruth the Moabites. So yeah, look, Boaz told him, look, the day you buy the land from Naomi, you also have to buy Ruth. All right? You also have to buy Ruth the day you buy the land from Naomi. All right? And let's see what he ended up saying after that. All right? So, thou must buy it also of Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of the dead, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. So look, Boaz is like, look, if you buy the land, you have to buy Ruth, because you have to raise up the inheritance of Naomi's husbands. All right, you have to raise it up, right? Where was I? All right, verse 6. And the kinsman said, I cannot redeem it from myself, lest I mar my own inheritance. So the kinsman was like, look, I can't redeem it unless I damage my own inheritance, right? Redeem thou my right to myself, for I cannot redeem it. So look, he was like, look, you redeem it, Boaz, because I can't redeem it. I ain't trying to damage my, I ain't trying to damage my own inheritance, right? Verse 7. Now this was the manner in former time in Israel concerning redeeming and concerning changing. So when it says this was the manner, this was the custom, all right? In former time in Israel concerning redeeming and concerning changing. For to confirm, meaning to finalize all things, a man plucked, meaning took off his shoe and gave it to the neighbor, and this was a testimony in Israel, a confirmation in Israel. All right. Verse 8. Therefore the kinsman said unto Boaz, buy it for thee. So he drew off his shoe. All right. So verse 9. And Boaz said unto the elders and unto all the people, ye are my witnesses this day, that I have bought all that was Elimelech's and all that was Chilion's and Malion's of the hand of Naomi's. So Boaz told everybody that was there as witnesses, and the elders, look, you guys are my witnesses. I'm buying everything that belonged to Naomi's husbands and Naomi's children, right? Verse 10. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. All right, so look, Boaz is saying, look, I even purchased Ruth, my wife, all right, to be my wife, to raise up the inheritance of Naomi's husband, all right, that the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren and from the gate of his place. You are my witnesses this day, right? Verse 11. And all the people that were in the gate and the elders said, we are witnesses. The Lord maketh the woman that is come into thy house like Rachel and like Leah. The reason that was said is because, Rachel and Leah, they helped with the 12 tribes, all right? Which two did build the house of Israel, and do thou worthily in Ephrathah, and be famous in Bethlehem, all right? So look, there's multiple wives, man. I know this topic is not about that, but look, man, all right, it was multiple wives, all right, multiple women, all right, that helped build Israel, all right. Verse 12. And let thy house be like the house of Perez, whom Tamar be unto Judah, of the seed which the Lord shall give thee, of the sight of this young woman. Verse 13. So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife, And when he went in unto her, the Lord gave her consumption, and she bare a son. So look, he slept with her, right? And then she had a son, right? And the woman said unto Naomi, Blessed be the Lord, which has not left thee this day without a kinsman, that his name may be famous in Israel, right? So look, Ruth ended up having a son, all right, with Boaz after Boaz slept with her, all right? Verse 15, and he shall be unto thee a restorer of thy life and a nourisher of thy old age. For thy daughter-in-law, which is Ruth, which loveth thee, which is better to thee than 7 sons, had borne him. So look, your daughter-in-law Ruth gave birth to him right here, right? Verse 16, and Naomi took the child and laid it in her bosom and became nurse unto it, meaning she cared for the child. So look, if this was an Israelite woman, Naomi wouldn't take the child, all right? Ruth would be taking care of her own child, all right, that she had with Boaz, if Ruth was an Israelite, all right? Verse 17, and the woman, her neighbors, gave it a name, saying, There is a son born to Naomi, and they call his name Obed. He is the father of Jesse, the father of David, right? And we know who that David is, all right? Verse 18, now these are the generation of Phares. Phares begot Hezron. Verse 19, and Hezron begot Ram, and Ram begot Amminadab. Verse 20, and Amminadab begot Nahshon, and Nahshon begot Solomon. Verse 21, and Solomon begot Boaz, and Boaz begot Obed, and Obed begot Jesse, and Jesse begot David. So that's the book of Ruth. But if you pay attention to the verses that was being brought out, it was many times where it was very noted that Ruth is not the same people as Naomi's people, as Boaz's people. Ruth didn't have her own God. Ruth didn't have the same God as Naomi or as Boaz. Ruth and her sister, they had their own God. They wanted to be the same people Naomi was. That's why she cleaved and was submissive. So I'm led to believe that the reason Ruth is in the Bible is to let us see an example of how these nations will soon be willingly cleaving to us. And obviously the ones that are hard-headed and don't want to cleave and be racist still, in that time they're gonna get put to death, right? But I think maybe that's why Ruth is in the Bible. And obviously because she helped the powerful seed line, which we know about, right, with David, right? So yeah, but with that, if you ask me, what did I get from the scriptures? Is Ruth an Israelite or is Ruth a Moabite? I will say that Ruth is a Moabite who just was very submissive, willingly to cleave and help build up a very powerful bloodline by keeping it going, by having a son. All right, with that, Shalom Israel.